Hi friends, welcome to another haul. When I say haul, I think they are reasonably sized. I'm not buying a whole lot, just enough to keep me happy, I guess. Selfridges is currently holding a sale, and I had my eyes on a few items. They have been on a wish list for a long time, specifically the Suqqu products I purchased with a few other tings. And funny, I ordered on Wednesday night, like 9:30 Eastern, and Selfridges does charge $35 shipping, and you're like, oh my goodness, you either pay $35 for the one-time delivery fee or you pay $65 for unlimited free delivery an entire year. That's not bad. The reason I didn't choose that option is because Suqqu Europe and I have a relationship. They have been sending me PR, which I am grateful for. And Suqqu was the only brand I was purchasing a few times out of the year from Selfridges, which prompted me to sign up for the annual free delivery subscription. But because I've been getting PR, and for times I wanted to buy more Suqqu, I would contact the counter. And of course, you will have to meet a certain threshold, quite high, to be eligible for free shipping, which at those times didn't have a problem doing. But I decided to pick up a few things. I wanted to buy the final shade from the Cream Touch lip and cheek color in S03, the berry shade. I already have S01 and S02. I of course had to pick up the lip wrapping. I always want to say lip wrapping, the treatment wrapping lip from the Touch of Nectar collection, because first of all, this formula is out of this world. I love these shades and I had to get my hands on them. Those were on sale, as well as the limited shade from the Blossom Bee collection 101, the red brick shade. Oh my goodness, don't you worry, we got swatches, we got the comparison stills coming up, okay? I also, which off the cuff, normally would not do this. Pat McGrath lab products are more expensive buying from the UK than they are here. But because this was on sale, I decided to finally buy Mother's primer, the Intensifies Longwear primer, which I tried yesterday. Actually, I filmed this entire thing yesterday, but I scrapped it because my hair was looking a mess. I was rushing. I was like, no, we got to do this again. We'll see this in action again, because I was contemplating including 01 Portrait, the Prada Quad refill, in my basket. Although the Prada eyeshadows and all the Prada eye products are cheaper on Selfridges, you kind of have to do the math. It's like if you add the import and duty fee and then you also add the delivery fee, I thought, well, when I calculated this, it kind of, give or take $2 or $3 came to the same amount if I bought it from here. So I decided to get 01 Portrait. I had my eye on this refill forever, and I had a little bit of a panic attack because this is sold out at Nordstrom, sold out at Bloomies, and there was no indication of low stock on PradaBeauty.com, but there was on Selfridges, and I had it in the basket, but I'm like, you know what? I just decided to buy it from here because I also wanted to buy Guava, the last shade from the natural or the universal balm or the natural lip enhancing tint line, but Selfridges sold out of this shade. So I decided to make a purchase on PradaBeauty.com, bought Guava, bought Portrait. In addition, did I buy anything else? Oh yes, how could I forget? One of you had said that the Lisa Eldridge Shade and Sculpt and Shade lip pencil in 1N that was sold out on her website at the time I made my Lisa Eldridge purchase was actually available on Selfridges. So I bought 1N, and yes, we have the comparison swatches to 2N and 2W. Excited to get into this whole try on because we got the lippies on. I would love to apply Portrait as well as the Cream Touch in S03 and just play around and combine as many makeup items as we can on this face. Now that we got the agenda laid out, it's time for you to come in a little closer. That's enough. Why don't we get started on the Cream Touch swatches, and I'll begin with S01, which you have seen in action before. If you want a full review of these items, I will make sure to link the video card up above and down below, where I cover all the PR products from the Cream Touch or Touch of Nectar collection. This is S02, and again, I've already gushed over how much I adore the Cream Touch cheek and lip products from the Suqqu collection. The texture, although it looks, what's the word I want to use? It might appear tacky, and you might detect that a little bit from the swatch, but it is far from tacky. It is not sticky. It's not heavy on the skin. It has this creamy quality about it and leaves behind a bit of sheen, but the colors they just nailed. And that's why I had to get S03, the berry shade. I had my qualms initially, which is why I didn't request this shade. I requested these two when asked if I wanted anything from the Touch of Nectar collection, and berries could look bruisey on me. They could, but because I was delightfully impressed by the two shades here, I was like, I just gotta get a third one, okay? And the color is magnificent. I think when applied, typically with berry shades, I like to apply them higher on the cheeks because it can get, depending on the intensity, a little bruisey-ish on the center of my face. And I actually would like to try Kamistu here on the center and then S03 here higher on the cheekbones, which is what we'll do now. What brush should I use? Taking my Chikuhodo JG10 brush. This is a synthetic brush, and something I like to do is prep the product on the back of my hand first, so I'm able to have a more even distribution of product, and then we'll pounce that here higher on the cheekbones. And you could just see how beautiful this shade is, the way it wraps around the contours of my cheeks, and also it delivers color, but it also has that translucency about it. You can still see my skin from underneath, but it's not like it disappears. The color is there for sure. And I suspected this performance, again, just based on my experience using both cream touch blushes I received in PR, how I absolutely adore those shades, as well as the formula. And my goodness, just look how beautiful. I'm ready for autumn, fam. I'm ready to apply all the berry shades, okay? I like to bring a little bit into the eyes. That's what I've been doing. I love that technique because I feel it just encompasses this region of my face where it doesn't appear disjointed. It actually brings the entire complexion together, in my opinion. And as you see, when there's not a lot of product on the brush, when you have already applied the majority of product here higher on the cheek region, just to bring any leftover here around the perimeters of your forehead. And don't you worry if you have arrived at this point and you're like, I could use a little less color. Just grab whatever foundation product you use, same brush, tapping in, taking off the excess, because you don't want to apply more product, especially if you already have foundation on the forehead, which I feel tends to get or appear a little textured when too much foundation is applied, because this is where we get the most amount of lines, you know what I mean? Just enough to tap away the color, or wipe your brush to take away any residue of color and then go back in on the forehead. And why don't we go in with S01 on the center of the face? I think that would be a beautiful combination, because this beigey, warm beigey shade coupled with the berry, because you could probably mix these colors together. Yes, on a palette or on the back of your hand, wherever you want to do it on. And what comes out of that, there, thank you. If you haven't seen the cream touch in action, just lovely adherence, and also there is a dew effect, a shinier finish, if you will, because this naturally serves as a highlight. I don't have a dedicated highlighter on the cheekbones, but prepped now, if I wanted to apply something else here on the cheekbones, I very much well can. Why don't we move into the lips? Now, I have plenty of swatches to share. We could start with the Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil in 1N. This is described to be a clay brown, and I wanted the shade just from the description alone because it's so subtle. But what I admire about Lisa's clay browns, or just her browns, is that they don't run warm. They have this neutral undertone to them that doesn't appear grayish. And not that that's bad. I think that's a beautiful undertone as well when it comes to brown neutrals. But when you nail that neutral right dead center, is not too cool, not too warm, it just gives beautiful structure to my lip and serves as a foundation for several of my lip shades in my collection that have that neutral brown beige tone to it. And what immediately comes to mind, I have one N on here. I could slap on Lisa's Sweet Fig. Sweet Fig with one N. Oh my gosh, this is the easiest. There you go. 2N is the cork brown. That's going to provide a little more structure, a little more intensity around the lip. And 2W, I love that I picked up 2W because initially I was going to buy 1N from Lisa's site, but it was sold out. 2W is that rosewood, but again, not overly pink. It definitely is my lip, but better on the rosy side of the spectrum. And I compare this with any of my rose pink shades from my lipstick collection. Is such an easygoing color, as well as going back to 1N. I could pair this with Noisette from Prada Beauty, the Balm, or even Guava. Maybe Guava will be a better pair with 2W since Guava is a little more pink. I think 1N would be too neutral for a Guava matchup. Now for the lip wraps. All right, these two shades are limited edition, and if it's your first time dealing with Suqqu numbers, usually the triple digit numbers indicate a limited shade, whereas the double digits are permanent shades. We have both 107 and 108. 107 is the berry shade that corresponds to the cream touch shade in that berry as well. Oh my goodness, this violet just so lovely on the lip, and I had to grab this color because just wearing it by itself, I envisioned how it would uplift my complexion, because I love my reds and my roses and my pinks, warm pinks preferably, but to have a berry, but a warm berry, is not cool. I don't think. It's more like an orchid maybe. And with 108, I signed up with the orange and yellow tinged lip products immediately when I tried 03 from their original or their wrapping lip treatment launch with all the permanent shades. That was more yellow brown, and I'll have that comparison up in a minute. 108 is more of a tangerine coral. It might be hard to detect from the stills, but 108 definitely has more of a coral tinge to it that overall you can still see more of that orange hue. But man, I think it's such a beautiful shade. Tropical, very much aligns with the summer collection. And here with 03, this is described to be as a yellow brown. And yes, you might see yellow for 108, but I think 03 definitely leans more yellow with that brown undertone. And I wanted to throw on 04, the terracotta shade. This definitely reads more terracotta compared to 108, and 107 being the berry shade. And also wanted to compare those with 106. My apologies for not recalling from which this came collection wise, but this was the wrapping lip formula with the pearl. And it doesn't actually, despite how it looks in the component, it doesn't have the same color delivery as, I don't want to say flat shades, but the shades that just have that gloss finish, where this has, maybe you could see it here through the bottle, that pearl finish. This doesn't have as strong as a color delivery. It does have that warm effect on the lip and definitely has more of that twinkle because of the pearl in here. You can definitely see more of like that tangerine orange from the 108, the yellow brown-ish tinge from 03, and I wanted to throw in the Moisture Glaze shade, the milky orange one, I believe this 04. Now the Moisture Glaze formula completely different from the wrapping lip treatment one. The wrapping one is giving more gloss. The Moisture Glaze, as the name implies, more glaze, is balm with nice color delivery, and 04 in particular, I think you can see more of that milky orange color. And my apologies, I had said, well, that is true in a way. When I applied 03 from the wrapping lip line for the first time, I was like, oh, I didn't think this color would suit me at all, but sign me up. And when I saw milky orange, although they had purchased all the glaze shades for my birthday, I didn't know how 04 will fare out, but it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. And now that you see them all on the screen here, the Moisture Glaze is definitely giving more distinct milky orange versus the wrapping lip treatments, more of a veil of either the tangerine coral or the yellow brown or that more like glazy gold pearl finish from What's this number again? 106. And I wanted to purchase the limited Moisture Glaze shade from the Blossom Bee collection. I had originally requested 102, this beige pink. Of course, I had my eye on 101, the brick red shade. My heavens, this color is lovely. And as you see, maybe you had the original shade from the Moisture Glaze lineup in mind. 07 was described to be as a muted red. 101 definitely has a little more warmth in there. It's a little more vibrant, and I think very much aligns with the Blossom Bee collection because that was released for spring. Whereas 07, the muted red, I love both. I love both for different reasons. The muted red shade is fantastic for every day, but now that we are in the season of summer, 101 would be a lovely addition and just something new to apply, a pick-me-up, if you will. For the shadows, let's get into a few swatches here. Now, I gushed over the Prada eyeshadows in my Prada video where I explained my visit to Nordstrom and how I was just elated the entire time. I still did not pick up the foundation because although I love the color match, it has fragrance, and right now I don't think I need another complexion product given the fact that I recently purchased Lisa's Skin Tint. The shadows though, we gotta catch them all. So let's go into the first shade, which when I swatched this rose gold for the first time, my goodness, the shine is incredible. Look how icy and just foiled that appears. Next up, we have more of our satin shade. This is like just dictated by the size of the pan, where you could apply this all over the eye, wherever you like. You can use a bigger brush to apply this shade. Next up, we have the Pop of Color shade that I would describe to be not quite satin. It's almost like powdered fabric. It's very lightweight. And one of the Prada Beauty artists explained that it was purposely formulated in this way to not be pow wow, to enable the user a little more accessibility and just to lower the intimidation levels when it comes to color. They could whip this on the lid without it overtaking the entire eye if they started with a neutral color but they wanted to add a little bit of, whether in this case it's the orchid or the mint or that fiery red that I have from Pulse, I believe. I forgot the name of it, 03. Or you could just whip it to blur out the edges of your neutral shades, but it's not going to appear heavy and it's not going to look crazy on the eyes. And lastly, we have our Hyper Matte shade that purposefully, you could just see as indicated by the size, is meant to provide intensity and smoke, meaning you would naturally have to use a smaller brush to pinpoint those smaller areas on the eyes. This shade, and I'll compare this to the other brown shades from the Prada quads that I have, this is more, I'm thinking comparing it to, I think it was Deep or Dark from Mother's Sublime. That's what I think of just off the cuff. Now this color here from 03, just from seeing the pan alone, is giving a little more plum, right, compared to this shade. And from Poetry, this has a little more, you know, when if I saw this first, I would say this has more of the plum. But I guess 03 is more eggplant, right? And this is more plum. And my apologies, I can swipe 03 again. It's just getting enough on this fingertip. Here we go. There are all the current browns that I have from the Prada Beauty quads, and this definitely leans more neutral, and probably why Portrait is sold out everywhere. I mean, this is just ridiculous in terms of how versatile it is and how incredibly easy it is to use. Where is the sun? Do I have to bring in my light? I wish I had my little glam core. My goodness. I do have a ring light, but I don't like how warm it is. I used it yesterday and the footage, I just look so yellow. Oh, we're back. It came back. Let's hopefully it will stay. Because I filmed this yesterday, I will repeat what I did, and that is starting off with the Orchid shade. I like to just place this all over the inside of my eye. Typically, I forgot to put on the intensifiers. Hello, Alicia. I did use this yesterday, as I said. I like the texture. I was hoping for a little more pigment. It does have some, right? A little bit. It's not completely clear, or translucent, I should say. It has a little bit of like that see-through beige tinge to it, which I don't mind because I do think it provides a little bit of evening of my eyelid discoloration. All right, we're back in business. Going in last time with the Orchid shade. Should I allow this primer to set a little bit? Pouncing on in corner, but more of like in a splashed fashion. As you see, I don't want to keep it strictly in the, or on the inner corner, I should say. I want to blow it out so you can recognize that we got Orchid on the inner corner. Now with our beautiful rose gold metallic, now tapping on the lid, getting that on the majority. This is a beautiful color. I adore it. You just can't go wrong with the shiny rose gold, okay? Taking it over the juncture of that Orchid shade, introducing a little bit of this warm brown satin through the crease, as I just want some structure. I don't want to completely smoke it out. What, hello, where is it? Just a touch, all right, through the crease, perhaps bringing it here on the outer V to bring everything together, right? I don't want to oversaturate that part of my eye, and I think we've accomplished just that, but would like to bring some of that shade here on the lower lash line, right? Just to bring everything together. Now going in with a hyper matte, most definitely using this shade across my lash line and using my Bobodo and Yoshiki collaboration eye set. And I have leftover glue on the lashes. You disgusting. And also, you can wet these shadows. I would recommend that you take shadow on the brush first and then spritz, then on the lid. You don't actually want to introduce water on the actual powders in the pans. That could deteriorate the shadows in terms of shelf life and just encourage them to go bad faster, because when it comes to moisture and makeup, they don't mix well. I don't want to extend this color beyond the lash line. I simply want to tap, and I'll go in as many times as I see fit to establish the right amount of intensity that I'm looking for. It was hard to get that out, my goodness. All right, now with a larger shadow brush with the middle satin shade, we'll wrap this on the entire lid. And again, this texture is created to be silky and easy to pick up with a brush, because I think it is geared to just envelop as much of the eye region as possible if you like. Taking it slightly beyond the lash line, I also want to use, a little bit. I want to take the hyper matte with the same brush, or with the same brush I used on this side for the crease, and introduce a little bit of smoke here on the outer corner. I am tapping first in order to plant the color evenly, and then I'll take it through the crease. But you see, I don't want it to completely overtake the crease and the entire eye. I'm not looking to create a strong smoke, but just a little bit of contrast here. And would like to extend that blend just a little past the lash line there, so we could create that beautiful hoof, that wing of smoke, if you will. Definitely applying our rose gold now on the inner corner. If you're wondering, well, where can I put that Orchid shade? Well, I am planning on applying it here on the lower inner corner, and this is where I wish I had my MAC spray. Maybe I need to grab, just hold on. Allow me to introduce two ways you could use the Orchid shade on this eye. You can apply a liner with a crayon or some sort and then punch on the Orchid shade on top so it could show like whoa, or we could splash it with some water and then tap it on the inner corner, picking up the shade first and then spritzing it. I wouldn't use the rose water. This is just what I have on deck. I would use a dedicated setting spray because the ingredients will naturally favor longevity, stick, you know what I mean, color, integrity. Punching in so we could get that orchid shade to show even more. And why not? We could whisk it along the lash line just to kind of bring it. And I'm carrying this lower than usual because I want you to see it. All right. So that's why I'm being a little more daring in carrying the color lower rather than keeping it tight to the lash line, and would like to bring in more of this rose gold and just tap it lower so it can wrap around where the orchid color begins. And I also want to take this through the arc. We can smooth out that hole there, making sure that it rolls into the tan shade and then the darker brown shade. For the lips, you know, I actually want to apply a little more of the berry shade. I think we can do a little more berry on the center of the face, and like we have done for the cheekbones, just prepping the product first, warming it up, and then plopping it on the oh yes, that's pretty. And we already had Kamistu underneath, so I think that just helped bring this color more forward and add a little girth to it, you know what I mean? What shall we do for the lip? I'm thinking, well, what we have on now is great, yes, but I want a little more. I'm thinking, let's try this first. 2N with maple. That's pretty. What if, though, we applied a little bit of the wrapping lip in 107? Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna bring in a little more color. But lips are on, face is done, eyes are done. Let's apply some lashes and I'll be right back. And here is the final look from our Selfridges haul and mini Prada Beauty haul. I adore all these products, and I think it's because I had wanted them for a while. This wasn't as impulse as it might appear, considering they've been on my wish list for quite some time. And because I adore my lipsticks that I bought from my K-Beauty haul, I had to get the lip wrapping. I had to get the limited, I had to. The Moisture Glaze limited shade. I'm just beyond happy with Portrait. It's everything that I thought it would be. I do like the Pat primer. I have to use it with more shadows, but it is doing good so far. And the Lisa liner, oh my goodness, the color is exactly as described, and I am thrilled to now have it in addition to the 2 that I purchased from my Lisa haul. And then Lisa's tint was on with the Makeup by Mario bronzing serum. We got the Veil light. We got a lot of things happening. I have all 3 of the natural lip enhancing tints from the Prada Beauty Balm line. Who knows what other colors they'll decide to release, but if they do, I'll be there looking at the shades online. Let me know if you participated in the Selfridges sale or what you bought recently that you love, that you don't love. I will see you down in those comments, family. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review, haul, maybe more lip comparisons, or top 5 ranking with some of these eyeshadow palettes that I have now. Take care, and I will see you again soon.